Hello everybody, welcome back to Hush Hush, a podcast where I make things about Stranger Things related content. Today's episode we are talking about Billy Hargrove. Now I know we are all thinking, wasn't Billy racist? Billy was mean to Max. I never liked Billy as a character. Yes, Billy was racist, and yes, he was very mean to Max. But was it fully his fault? Billy grew up with a very abusive father. That explains why he takes everything out on Max and the others. But it's not Billy's fault for his upbringing. You can't blame the kid. It's mostly always the parents' fault for how the kids turn out. Now, I'm not trying to say you can't be mad at Billy because of his father, guys. He was racist and me because of his dad, so please forgive him. That's not what I'm trying to say at all. I'm not saying to forgive Billy. I'm not. What I'm trying to say is Billy had a horrible childhood. He ended up being very abusive and having that behavior because of his father. His father was racist and homophobic, as were a majority of the people in the 70s to the 80s, and still even now today. Not everyone was as accepting as Steve Harrington to the LGBTQ plus community. Hell, it was very rare for that to happen. Most of the time when someone came out in the 80s, they would be beaten, hate-crimed, and possibly murdered. Racism has been a thing for hundreds, if not thousands of years. People are always going to be racist, no matter how we try to change that. That's just how the world is. However, Billy Hargrove is no exception. People are conservative. People like to teach their kids that being a part of the LGBTQ plus community is a sin, and you'll never be forgiven, or that people of a different race or culture aren't meant to be in America in the first place, and that's not true at all. Billy's father is one of those people. I feel like if Billy had ended up with his mother instead of his father, he'd be totally different. He might not have had that abusive personality or that racist behavior. From what we saw, his mother was a very kind person. However, we don't fully know if she was racist and homophobic. There's really no guarantee since we did not see much of her character. Billy did, however, have a very slight redemption arc when he saved the kids in Season 3 and met his death. He pushed past the Mind Flayer's control to the best of his limits and knew what he was doing was wrong. I feel like if Billy had lived past that episode, he might have had a bigger redemption arc in Season 4. Sure, the rest of the kids would have hated him, but it could have slowly gone away, just like how Steve was a total douchebag at first and now everyone loves him. If he lived, maybe he would have slowly started to accept Lucas and slowly try to push past what he was taught growing up about racism and the LGBTQ plus community. Was Billy Hargrove really in the wrong? Yes, mostly. However, he was not fully in the wrong, and it's not fully his fault. People's actions are their own. Words and what they decide to do come with the consequences following them. Billy was racist and abusive. However, it is his father's fault and his father's before that. It was the 80s, and this wasn't like a 1 in a million for someone to be like this. Mostly everyone was. However, it's only halfway his fault for his father's actions. However, how he reacted from the words he was taught and the actions that followed that are his fault. So yes, what he did was his fault, but it's not his fault for his mindset. Thank you for coming to today's podcast. I hope to see you again for more Stranger Things related content.